Hi and welcome to the FreeFormKnits YouTube channel. I'm Haxie Nevers, a knitter and crocheter's freeform ways of crafting blood to the world of design. All the places you can find me will be listed down below this video, as well as show notes to anything that I talk about. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me for a while. So the date is down below, because I can't remember the date. We've talked about this. And I did not do a podcast last week. I just didn't have a lot to show last week, so I skipped a week and now I have quite a bit to talk about this week. Before we get into everything, I want to thank you if you are a returning viewer, or if this is your first time stopping by. I just want to thank you for sitting and watching my podcast. And if you like what you see, please take a moment to subscribe and like the video. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about some finished objects, some whips, and designs. Yeah, that's what we have. You skip a week and you forget what you're doing. So I have this whole bag here of stuff to talk about and some stuff over here. So let's start with some finished objects. The first finished object we'll talk about today was a whip last time, and I'm so happy to have it done. I did get it done last week. Let me get this out of the way. And it is the sweater I have been working on. And it is 100% done. It's not blocked, but it is done in every other way, including buttons sewn on. It took, this is the first cardigan I think I have made that has buttons on it for a adult. And I did it right away after I finished. I just sat down and sewed them on. It did not take long. So this is a cardigan I designed myself. I did the numbers for myself and everything. And let me know how to do that. I used a US size 9 needle and used Yarn Bee ID in the Bluestone colorway. It's just a raglan. You can see the raglan detail on the sleeve. And let me awkwardly put this on and maybe you can see it better. Okay, the blue and pink are clashing a little, but that's okay. So the sleeves are a little bit on the short side because I'm lazy and wanted to be done with the sleeves. But I think once I block it and wash it, those sleeves will probably stretch a little, so it's fine. Like if I put my arm out like this, they kind of bracelet length, but that's fine. I usually push my sleeves back anyway, but I don't like 3/4 length sleeves, but I always push my sleeves back anyway. It's weird. So let me see if I can stand up. The pink and the blue are clashing, like I said, but that's okay. I'm not thrilled about this part here where I had to pick up for the button band. It's not like perfectly straight, but I've decided to count that as a feature rather than a mistake. And then it buttons all the way up. I originally, like you can see here, I tried to do a v-neck. I realized as I was doing it that I wasn't doing it dramatically enough. I should have done increased 2 stitches on both sides to get a more dramatic v-neck, but I'm kind of happy about it because I realized that if I did do a v-neck cardigan, I wouldn't have been able to put buttons all the way up. It would have, well, I could have, but like it wouldn't close properly because it would be a v-neck. But I really like it, and I love these buttons. I actually have a spare button that I haven't put away properly yet, so I'll show you that. These are the buttons. I just got them at Hobby Lobby. Very pretty wood buttons with like these kind of just a pattern to it, kind of like vines. That is what I thought when I looked at it, but it's very pretty. I got 2 packs, so 8 buttons total, 1 left over. I did the math when I did the buttonholes and everything for the buttons, and I was supposed to use 8. I'm not sure how I only ended up with 7. Very interesting, but I don't really care. So it's kind of nice. It's a little chilly in the basement, so it's kind of nice to wear this. It's a chilly, stormy day here where I live. I live in the state of Pennsylvania. And it's a bit of a chilly, stormy day. We're supposed to get a big storm. But I'm going to take this off because I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing. You've seen this before. And I'll talk about it when I show you a whip I'm working on. But I want you to be able to see this so I can talk about the whip I'm working on. I'll probably put this on later because it's very cozy. I haven't worn it yet, but it's a very cozy cardigan. Let me get it out of frame, not distracted. So that was finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 was also a whip last time, and it was actually a whip. If I had podcasted last week, it would have still been a whip. I finished it the next day, so it was good I didn't podcast. And now I have a full pair of finished socks, and I love them. I'll only put one on the blocker so I can show you the other one. But I have this pair of socks. This is a pair of socks that's going to be a part of the garter stitch sock collection I'm designing that will be coming out later this year. And this is the pattern. It's this fun zigzag pattern, and it's got my shortcut heel and garter stitch and my hat trick toe. The yarn I used for this is Yarn Bee Color Ideal in the Orangeology colorway. And I knit all my socks on a US 2 2.75mm needle. And here's the second sock. I can show you the pattern. It's such a super fun pattern. It's really great to knit up. I love knitting garter stitch in the round, like when you do a row of knits and then that purl ridge, and it's very satisfying to me. And it's just a really fun pattern to do because you're always moving your pearls a little bit. It's super easy and a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about this pattern. And then the back is just all stockinette on the heel. I love having the back and the foot of the sock in stockinette. It's just a great way that you can still see the yarn shine, because I always have, when I have a skein of sock, you're always like, well, I could do a pattern, or I could just do vanilla and let the yarn shine. So it's nice to get the best of both worlds. So that's that pair of socks, and the sock blockers are from Knit Picks on the medium size. And that's that pair of socks. I have not yet cast on the third and final sock pattern for the collection I'm designing, because I cast on a different sock whip that I'll show you in a little bit. And the last finished object I have, I literally just finished it this morning. I wanted to podcast today and wanted to share this finished object with you because by this time next week, it'll be gifted to its recipient. So I made sure I got it done today. I sewed it all up. It was a lot. It is a crochet amigurumi toy. I've talked about in the previous podcast episodes, I've been crocheting this Charizard plush. It's the pattern picture I'll put here. The pattern, it's a free pattern. I think I found it on Ravelry, but it takes you to a website. I think it's Mina Handmade. Hopefully I'll be able to put it on the screen, and I'll also have the pattern linked in the description box. I've talked about how I've been crocheting all the pieces to the toy, and I finished all the pieces and I sewed it all together, and I now have Charizard. He is not as impressive as the pattern picture, but that's just due to laziness on my part and my inability to make facial features on toys accurate. But I try, and that's all that matters. So this is Charizard. If you don't know, Charizard is a Pokemon. And he's got these big old feet. I positioned his feet as if he were sitting because I think I messed up on placement due to, like, this part is a separate piece, his underbelly. I think it's supposed to be down lower, and the arm's supposed to be higher, and so the legs look right, but I messed up. So here he is. I crocheted him using a 4mm hook. I don't know the number or the letter that goes with it. I assume, I don't know. I don't know. My hooks, they only have the millimeters. So it's a 4mm hook. And I just use worsted weight yarn. Mostly I love this yarn in the black, the red, and then I think this was Yarn Bee ID in like the, I don't think it was beige, something called oatmeal, something oat. I don't know. That's the color I used for the underbelly, and it goes all the way to his tail. So there's a lot of pieces to crochet for this guy and a lot to sew together. And then his features is tooth that is just not staying on. It's this sticky felt that I found. You just cut it out and then you peel the back off, and it's like a sticker. And And that's what I've been using for features for toys, because I hate crocheting the little pieces for toys and then sewing them on. It looks so sloppy. These guys look a little crooked, but... And like this eye turned out pretty perfect in my opinion. This eye not so much, because it wouldn't be a toy made by me if the different pieces were matching or mirror images of each other. That's just too much to hope for. So he is missing his flame on his tail. I don't have the yarn with me to make the flame for his tail, so I have to do that later. But otherwise he is done. It was a really good pattern. I'm always so surprised at the free amigurumi patterns you can find. They're so detailed, so great. The only thing that, and this might be I just missed it in the pattern. I don't ever rule out the possibility that I skipped something in the pattern. It's more than likely. I don't think the wings are not exact mirror images of each other, and I can't decide if that's due to my sloppy seaming or if the pattern didn't include something to make sure that the wings were like a mirror, because you make a left wing and a right wing, but in the pattern it's just the wings. So that might be my fault, or it might be something that's missing from the pattern. I don't know. It's really not a big deal. I think I'm leaning towards looking at it now that it's me, my sloppy seaming, not like positioning them right and not taking great lengths to make them perfectly matching and mirror images of each other. But either way, it doesn't matter. The thing I omitted from the pattern, you're supposed to crochet the claws for the legs and the feet, for the hands and feet. I did not do that because making, I think, a total of 12 little pieces of like fingernails for his claws. No, that's not me. I will probably take some white yarn and do some little detailing when I do the tail, but other than that, I'm counting him as done. Oh my. See, I played some yarn chicken because I didn't bring my sewing stuff with me here where I'm filming to finish him, so I am seeing that I have to seam that together. But other than those little things, he's done, and I'm so happy, and he'll be going to his recipient as a birthday gift next week, early next week. I don't know, sometime next week. I'm pretty certain next week is the date of his recipient's birthday, sometime around there. But here he is, and I really love him. And now I have to get started on the second crochet toy I have to make for another birthday at the end of this month. That one should not take as long as this one did. Alright, enough about Charizard, though I have to admit, I'm pretty proud of him. I'm always proud of myself when I make a crochet toy. It's just so cool, you know? He's a toy. I don't know. But that's Charizard. And that ends our finished objects section. Now we move on to whips. So the first whip is the whip that goes with what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing this sweater that I knit and finished a few podcasts ago. Maybe 2, I don't remember. This is a top I created myself. Just did some circular yoke shaping. I used some yarn bee, sugar wheel cotton with a US 9 needle and knit this top. It's nice, just a light airy summer top. And then I have this nice wide neck that I used a smaller needle size. I'm pretty sure I used a 7 for this one to bring it in. And it's just a very straightforward summer top. But surprisingly, my mom liked this top and she tried it on and she really liked it. And so I'm making her one with just some modifications to the one I made for myself. So here's what I have so far. And it is so close to being done. It doesn't look it, but it is. I'm using a bigger needle. I'm using a 10 needle size rather than a 9 because though she liked the fit of this one, she did say it was just a little bit snug, but like it could have been the same, but if the option was to make it bigger, that would be good. So I didn't change the numbers or anything. I just went up a needle size so the fabric is a little bit more giving, even more drapey, I guess. I didn't measure my gauge, but I don't think it changed much. It just gave that extra drapiness. I don't know words. So I finished the yoke, and yesterday, just to feel like I did some progress, I did pick up the neckline. Since I used a 10 for the body, I used an 8 for the neckline, and then I also did the sleeve. She did want her sleeve a little bit longer than mine. Mine's literally, I think, 8 rows total. So for hers, I did a little bit longer. Oop, that's the wrong sleeve. And now I am knitting the body. I did the sleeve while the body was still attached. And while it wasn't a long sleeve, oop, I just kicked the camera, sorry. While it wasn't a long sleeve, it was a bit annoying to knit the sleeve and have the body attached. So I might just finish the body and then go back and knit the sleeve. But I don't know. Or I might feel adventurous and knit the sleeve. And it's done. You know, I feel like I didn't like having the neckline still very open, because since it's such a big needle, the neckline was very open and you really need to pick it up with a smaller needle to bring it in. I didn't like having the neckline so open and the sleeves unfinished and knitting the body. I felt like I wasn't making progress. So that's why I stopped and did the neckline and the sleeve, because then I felt like the yoke is basically finished. I mean, I have a sleeve to knit, but I feel like I'm making progress, like it's a sweater instead of just this blob that doesn't have any shape yet. But that's that, and I'm using the same type of yarn. It is Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton in the Lovely Lilac. This one I used, I think, blush pink. This is Lovely Lilac, and it's just 100% cotton, 142 grams per 335 yards, or 306 meters. So the recommended needle size for this, for knitting, is a 6. I don't think of it as a DK, but I guess technically it is. I don't know. I'm obviously using a lot bigger needle size, but I guess it's classified as a 3, a lightweight. So I guess you could say it's a DK, but I knit with it. Like if I make dishcloths out of this, I use a worsted gauge and it's fine. But I don't know. It's making a really nice fabric. Like when you first knit this up, it's so soft, and even after I've washed and blocked or just thrown this in the washing machine, that's how I wash it. I throw it in the washing machine and lay it flat to dry. It still feels really nice. Like when it first comes out of the washer, it feels stiff, but once it dries and everything, it still feels very nice. So even though it technically, I suppose, is just a dishcloth cotton, but that's that. And this, I hope to have this done very soon. Hopefully next week this will be done. And depending on when it's done, you might not see it again, because I want to give it to her right away. Because summer does not last forever. And I'm just keeping it in this bag that I've shown you before. One of my bags that I sewed and failed at doing a box bottom. And that's that. The next whip I have to show you, you've seen if you follow me on Instagram. I'm the Freeform Knitter on Instagram if you want to follow me over there. And I'm just realizing now it's been in frame the whole time. That's nice. But it is also a sweater, another circular yoke sweater, but this one is crochet. And it is so close to being done. The majority of this was knit in one day, or was crocheted in one day. Like the yoke was done in one day, and the sleeves could have been done in one day, but then I put it down to work on this sweater because I felt guilty for casting on a new sweater, and I still had that one. So this is a crochet pattern I found for free on Ravelry. It takes you to a website. The pattern is I think Basic Tee, and I can't remember the designer's name. It'll be hopefully on the screen and also be linked down below. And it's just a really great pattern. The pattern is written just to be a t-shirt, like you do the yoke and then the body and you're done, but I did add sleeves because I think it'll be such a great winter sweater. And the yarn I'm using is I Love This Yarn in the Fuzzy Slippers colorway. and I love the color. I just saw this color and I just grabbed 4 skeins, and because I knew I had to have a sweater in it. And the hook I'm using, I don't think I've ever crocheted a project with this hook. It's a very big hook. It's a 6mm hook. I usually don't go up to a 6mm hook. Then again, I haven't made that too many crochet sweaters, but that was the gauge I needed for the pattern. So, and speaking of gauge, even though I took gauge, I'm realizing I probably could have done a small rather than the medium. It's a bit big, and I will try it on so you can see. Okay, so it's not done. I'm like halfway done the body. Oh, even more than halfway. I probably 6 inches maybe at minimum. And I did pick up for the neckline and did 3 rows of single crochet, or did I just do 2? I think I did 2. I can't really tell. I'm tempted to say I did 2 because I did 3 for the sleeve, and I thought I had to do more for the sleeve than for the neckline. I don't know. I added sleeves. The pattern does not include instruction for sleeves. I added sleeves because, like I said, I think this will be more of a winter sweater for me than a actual t-shirt. And I only did 3/4 because I only got 4 skeins of this yarn. Looking at my yarn, I probably have, like, this is a new skein, and I have some left over. I probably could do longer sleeves, probably not full length though. So I just did 3/4, though I did say just previously that I don't like 3/4 sleeves. But crocheting a worsted weight sweater in the midst of summer, it makes you think that come winter you'll be okay with 3/4 length sleeves. Well, we'll see when we get to winter if I don't wear the sweater because I'm cold in it. We'll see. But I am loving it. I love the color. It's so great. And this sweater is worked in, what's the term? I think turned rounds in crochet. Like you're working back and forth but still joining it in the round just so you get both sides of the double crochet. And I was originally gonna not do that. I was just gonna work in rounds without having a seam, because you do have a seam in the back. But I decided just to follow the pattern. I see myself using this pattern as a template for more crochet sweaters because it was really easy to do. It was so much fun to do. The yoke shaping was great. Just circular yoke, and doing a circular yoke crochet is so amazing because it's just round and round. It's great. But that is that sweater, and I love it. And maybe I can even get this done too by next week. I don't know if that's 2 sweaters. That sweater and this sweater done. I probably can do it. We'll see. We'll see. So while we're still on crochet, we'll talk about my next whip, and let's just get that out of frame. Just is that out of frame? I don't know. It looks out of frame on the phone, but it might not be when I go to edit this. We'll see. So while we're still talking about crochet, we'll talk about the Tunisian crochet saga. So I talked about how I went to crochet the Party Pun shawl by TLC Young Crafts. I don't remember now. That'll be down below. That's the shawl that started all this. And I talked about how I didn't like the mesh stitch. I've never been good with mesh type stitches in crafts. So I decided to stop doing the mesh and just do a regular Tunisian stitch between the border, the knit stitch borders. And I did, and I switched yarn, and it's working out fine. I'm really proud of myself. I love this. I love it. I mean, I love the feel of the fabric. It's so great. It's my wonky cord, and you can see the yarn is cut. Well, before today, I was debating whether or not to just rip this out, because though I got it, I know how to do Tunisian crochet now, this yarn is still too thick for this yarn. For this hook. I think this hook needs a DK weight yarn for my gauge. But it's still very pretty, and I was thinking, well, you know, this is just scrap yarn I'm crocheting with. Maybe I'll just, you know, use this up in another color and just make a little cowl-like thing. That's fine. That was my plan until I sat down to sew together Charizard and realized I didn't have any of my thread with me where I'm podcasting today. So it was either not sew him up or find some yarn somewhere. What yarn did I have? I had this yarn. So I cut it and use this yarn. I actually ended up not needing to use too much of this. I just need to use it a little bit. I managed to make do with the long tails I had left to sew Charizard up, but I did cut this yarn and use a little bit of it, and though I could easily reattach it, I'm taking it as a sign to just rip this out. Maybe when I get some better crochet hooks or feel the urge again to try another yarn, I will do a full proper size Tunisian crochet project. But as of right now, I'm just glad I really revisited the technique and experimented with it a little bit. It is super pretty. It really is such pretty fabric it makes, but it is slow and it is just hard on the hands too with this yarn and hook combination. And this is just some scrap yarn I had. I love this yarn in some variegated colorway. I don't recall the name, but that's all it is. I might just take this piece off and leave it as a little swatch. Do something with, I don't know. But that's the update on the Tunisian crochet saga. Eventually I will do a full Tunisian crochet project and it'll be great. I'll love every stitch and it'll be beautiful, whatever that project may be. But as of right now, not this one. The final whip I have to share with you today is my weekly sock whip. I told you I did not cast on the next sock for the collection I'm designing. I decided to take a break and make a shorty sock that I've been wanting to do for so long. And here is the shorty sock. Now I've not been, with the sweaters and the Charizard blush, I have not been wanting to do a lot of sock knitting this week. So most of this was done yesterday, other than the cuff and one repeat, like literally 2 rows of this sock. The rest was done yesterday because I wanted to make some progress to show you guys. The cuff is what I really want to do with this sock pattern that I'm making here. A picot cuff, and I think it's so pretty. And I didn't seam it down, I knitted it down, and that'll be 2 options included in this pattern when it is a pattern. Right now it's just a sock I'm knitting. And originally I was going to make it a vanilla sock, but I kind of wanted a little bit of a detail. Especially I love the garter here to separate the picot cuff from the leg of the sock. So that's what started this garter ridge pattern. And it's got my shortcut heel in stockinette stitch. And the yarn is just some scrap yarn, not scrap yarn, leftover yarn from another sock design. It is Knit Pick Stroll, I think in blue tonal something. It's not Manatee. I haven't used that one yet. I have Manatee, but it's blue violet, I'm pretty sure, blue violet tonal. And there's not enough to do a full sock. I think I have 40 grams. I'm sorry, it's enough to do a full sock. It's not enough to do a pair. It would be if I did contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs, but I didn't want to do contrasting heel, toes, and cuffs. So I just grabbed this bit of yarn, and I have another one. This is the leftovers from my bramble socks, Knit Pick Stroll tonal in the sunflower tonal colorway. Sunflower? I think sunflower, but it's probably not. So I have enough of this, so I'll just do 1 sock in this color and 1 sock in this color, and it'll be a fun mismatching pair of socks. The only way they'll be identical is that they'll have the same pattern. And that's fine. That's fine by me. I don't mind wearing mismatched socks. They won't really be mismatched. They'll be different colors, but they'll match in pattern. So this is basically just a vanilla project now. I have to say, there's another reason I took a break from knitting socks. Once I spent a long time finishing the second sock of this pair. And because my needles are Chagu needles and they're super sharp, and because I flick my yarn, I'll honestly always keep reopening the cuts on my fingers. Because of how I knit, I use my fingertips to push the needles down and rearrange the stitches. So I'm constantly cutting open my finger with my needles, especially my sock needles. So I can't knit socks for too long, unless I have a bandage to protect my finger. So I did take a break so that the cuts on my fingertips could heal. And that's my sock whip. the last thing I have to talk to about you today is some design talk, and it is about a sock pattern that I have in testing. So last week I set up a test, no, not last week, this weekend. I can't think anymore. This weekend? This week's been weird, so I don't know the days of the week anymore. I think I say that every podcast. Sometimes the week falls in such a way where, or like things happen on certain days. It was a holiday weekend, that's why. So Monday wasn't really Monday. It felt like Sunday, and it was very weird. So I don't know the days, but needless to say, or regardless, I set up a testing call for this sock pattern, and it is this sock pattern that, if you watch my podcast, you've seen a while ago, and is the Boxel socks. And this is a pattern that I have in my Ravelry shop, but I am updating it to include more sizes, to include my shortcut heel in both stockinette and garter, and my hat trick toe. So it's just a way to revamp the pattern, make it more in line with my more recent designs. So I'm having testers test the pattern. If you ever want to be a test knitter and be a part of the testing process for any of my future designs, not this one, the testing's full now, but if you ever want to be aware of when I need testers, you can sign up below. I have an email list specifically for test knitters. When I have need for testers, I send out an email with a link to the thread where the testing is being held, and if you want to join in, you can. If you don't want to, you can just ignore the email. You're not tied to anything. It's just a way for you to be aware of when I need testers. So that'll be down below if you're interested. And this is the pattern. It's this very heavily textured sock pattern, just knits and purls. It's not hard, and it's got this faux cable detail that I am obsessed with. And it's a rib-based sock, so this patterning, though it's not ribbing, because we probably all know by now how I feel about ribbing, it's very stretchy, so it gives the feel of rib, but you're not actually knitting like regular 2x2 rib. And I love having the purl bumps on the back too. I think it's just nice. I usually, like I said, I usually leave the back of my sock plain, but having this little bit of texture is just fun, I think. And the yarn I used for it is Knit Shawl Tonal in the Mocha colorway. I got this yarn quite a few years ago now, so I don't know if they offer this yarn this color. I know they offer the line of yarns. Don't know if Knit has this particular color, but really any of Shawl Tonal colors would work. I love Shawl Tonal, if you can't tell. But that's that sock, and let me show you patterning up close on the other one. Just very nice box-like. I called it Boxel pattern because that's kind of what it reminds me of. Boxel is a video game my mom is constantly referencing because in Boxel you move boxes around to get to where you want to go. It's like that, like the block game or the car game in the app store. You have to move things in a certain way so you can get to where you want to go. And so we're always yelling Boxel at each other when something's stuck. But there we go. I really love this sock, and I'm really excited to have it out. Testers are working really fast at it, and it should probably be out by the end of this month. The updated version. You can purchase the version that is out in my Ravelry shop now. When this sock pattern is released, the price will go up because there'll be more to it. So if you want to purchase it now, you can save a little money and just get the update when it is released. If you purchase now, you will get the update when it is released. It'll be added to your Ravelry library directly. So yeah, that's Boxel. That's the Boxel socks. I think that's everything I've had to talk about this week. I'm thinking this podcast may ran a little bit longer than usual, but that's okay. I want to thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. If you like this, if you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a like and subscribe. It means so much to me, all of you who have subscribed already. It's been so nice. It's nice to have this little podcast to talk to you guys about all the things I love and that you like them too. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful crafty day. See you next time. Bye.